And I realized something interesting watching this game. This is going to be a very long series. And the reason it's going to be a very long series is these are two pretty good teams. Neither's great. First of all, the Rockets have a lot more shooters than Portland. They can spread the floor out. And the old Lakers, who at times struggle to guard the perimeter, can't guard them all. Houston's going to win more games in this series. As for the Rockets, Russell Westbrook's inconsistency means the Rockets will remain inconsistent. They're not good enough to beat LeBron and AD and the Lakers 3 straight games. What last night showed me was these are pretty good teams. But if Houston, they're good teams, but neither one of these teams can win the championship. That's what it showed me last night. If Russell Westbrook is your second best player, he has been in the NBA 12 years. He is still the most out-of-control star player in the league. And now it's in his head. He can't even shoot a free throw. He's 42% from the line from the free throw stripe. So what that tells you now, it's all in his head. He didn't forget how to shoot free throws. I mean, he's never been a good three shooter. He's been a mediocre jump shooter. He can't hit free throws. 42%. Now it's in his head. So if that's your number 2 player, and he is, you're not a championship team. What's it tell me about the Lakers? What I've been saying all year. Who's their third best player? Once again, even with the Heatles, it's how much can we put on LeBron's shoulders? Last night, every Laker starter, including AD, was negative plus minus except LeBron. What I like about all this, because I said LeBron is the most valuable player, and, you know, the way it works in sports, like college football, the South is better than the West, and in that's, you know, regionalized sports. The Western Conference is better than the Eastern Conference. So whenever we vote on the most valuable player, I wish they would wait until the playoffs were over, because then you get to see how everybody stacks up. Stars against stars, right? Stars against stars. How much better is LeBron James than all the other stars in the league? Anthony Davis is great, but disappears in the fourth. Kawhi's great when he's healthy. Giannis shrinks. Harden disappeared. Westbrook's a disaster. Once you put LeBron James, I'm blown away by his stamina. I'm blown away that in year 17, Michael Jordan looked tired by his second team. LeBron's on his 4th team on a different coast, and he is miles better than every NBA player right now except Kawhi Leonard. I still contend, get a basket, get a stop, minute left in a game, Kawhi's the best thing we got in the league. But LeBron James running the floor, LeBron James hitting shots, LeBron James, when you need a stop, it is remarkable. When you put all these stars and a little pressure on them, look at how they unravel. Look at how they shrink. Look at how they disappear. And there's LeBron dominating another NBA playoff game. I've watched every single playoff team multiple times. You know what we've got? Of the 8, 7 pretty good basketball teams, all with major flaws. And then we have the Clippers, who at times are great, but then kind of apathetic, sometimes seem marginally interested. They revert back also to pretty good. So the Rockets now are only tied with the Lakers after winning game 1. Here's the good news. It appears that Westbrook is showing signs of self-awareness after last night's mess.
Hey, Russ, when they're trapping James the way they're doing on the wings, do you prefer to be in the middle of the paint, or like tonight it seemed like that you were just in the perimeter, more so like early in the season where you were attacking off the catch?
Yeah, I don't know. Right now I'm just running around. So I got to look at film and figure out how to be effective.
He was just running around, missing shots, including those at the free throw line. All right. It's not when you've been together for a long time. It's not that you give somebody a great gift. It's that you're still remembering the anniversary, remembering the wedding date, remembering the birthday. It's not the present. It's the commitment that means more. Tom Brady got another gift this past week, Leonard Fournette. So Tom Brady, for years and years, was in Foxborough with this very wealthy family. And every year for Christmas, he'd get like socks or underwear. Then he moved to Tampa. They don't have the fiscal means of New England, the history, tradition, or the trophies. But he's been there a handful of months, and they've now given him an iPad, a drone, and 2 PlayStations. It's not just the gifts. It's that they're showing a commitment to Brady. We're going for it. We're all in. We'll spend a little money. That's why he ultimately left New England. It's that they didn't even try. They didn't even make a run at a tight end. The most driven, most clutch, most committed, most financially responsible, most coachable superstar at the most important position. And the last 10 years wasn't just about the lack of presence, the socks and the underwear for Christmas. They rarely showed an offensive commitment. He never had one deep threat after Randy Moss. How about a workable, healthy young tight end? How about a rising young star wide receiver? Leonard Fournette isn't a superstar running back, but don't downplay what he is. Leonard Fournette had 76 catches last year with Gardner Minshew and over 1,100 yards with an average offensive line. Leonard Fournette can play. He is young. He's got enough experience. He's been in a handful of big games, and he's a good player. He is a good football player. Sort of like Shady McCoy, who's much older, has big game experience, is a good football player, no longer great. But that's why Tom Brady left. It's not just the size of the gift, but in New England, it's almost as if it was antagonistic. And even now that Brady's left, Bill Belichick has had more nice things to say about Cam Newton in the last 3 weeks than he did with Brady in the last 10 years. It almost felt juvenile and antagonistic, and they wouldn't listen to him on game plans. So it's not just Leonard Fournette. Don't downplay it. He's a real player. But New England is saying, dude, we've had this franchise here since the 70s. We've never had a superstar quarterback, and we know you're past your prime, and we know you're 43. But we want to show you how committed we are to winning. Like, that matters a lot. And this is why Tom Brady left. I mean, the Patriots didn't even fake it. They draft another safety and another corner and another interior defensive lineman. Yeah, the defense is great. But when you have the most clutch, dependable, coachable, financially responsible, and I use responsible because if you own or run a football team, it's nice when your superstar quarterback consistently takes a major pay cut. Could you have shown a little commitment? I mean, right now, the Patriots, if Tom would have come back, don't have a functional veteran tight end in an emerging position in the NFL. So, LFG, as Tom would say. Our season starts Thursday. All right, coming up next, Jim Jackson in the bubble. Plus, I'll give you my NFL predictions. I got 2 changes I want to make.